What is up, YouTube? It's your boy John Fong, and today I want to talk to you about culture shock. Obviously, when you move to another country after living in another one for so long, Cameroon, my country, um, you will experience certain differences in culture. When I first moved from Cameroon to the United States, there are certain cultural differences that I experienced that I'm about to take you through some of those. One of those things that I experienced when I first moved to America was America's diversity. America has a lot of different people, race wise, culture wise. That's one of the things that we really didn't have back home. Cameroon is predominantly black, not just predominantly black. I think Cameroon is all black. So when I first moved here, it was different to me seeing people of different races, cultures. That felt so good to me because back home, I mean, obviously we've started having like influx here and there of mostly Chinese moving to the Cameroon, but we didn't have that initially. So yeah, that was different because it was a different experience. Obviously, I'd seen it in movies, but it's different when you experience it personally. So the next thing that I experienced that was different to me was America's healthcare. It's so freaking expensive. I had an experience when I first moved here. I had to undergo a surgery, and that surgery cost me like 30 something thousand dollars, and that's something that is unheard of where I come from. I don't think there's ever a day when something will come up to like $30,000. You know what I'm saying? Like a hospital bill, unless it's super complicated surgery. In that case, yeah, I could understand. My surgery came up to like 30 something thousand dollars, and it was a simple surgery. That was so surprising to me. My insurance had to cover some of that. Obviously, it didn't cover all of it, and I had to cover the rest of that. So that was shocking. I mean, as good as the healthcare is, it was so expensive. And moving on, I mean, even staying in the healthcare discussion, when you call the ambulance, it comes fast. In my country, I don't know. I probably wouldn't call the ambulance. I would probably get a friend or, somebody to take me to the hospital because it would probably take forever for the ambulance to show up, which was surprising to me how quick the ambulance would respond. In other countries, probably they would show up, but in my country, it was different. Even in the case of the police, I've never thought of calling the police, if something was going on. But here, the police is quick to respond, especially when they come and do the right thing. I don't want to put any negative energy in here, but yeah, the police is quick to come to show up when you call them, which is something that is really good that I experienced that I hadn't experienced before. The next thing that shocked me culturally when I got here was the habit of greeting. Back home, the first few people you meet, you probably greet them or say something to them. But here it's different. A few people do it, but it's not like part of the culture to go around greeting people or something of that sort, giving hugs, shaking hands and stuff like that. It's really common where I come from. So I found it kind of weird when I first moved here. I mean, I'm not saying it's anything negative. I'm just saying it's different. In this video, I'm not putting positives and negatives. I'm just saying what was different to me in the course of my stay in the United States. The next thing that was shocking to me was the habit of bearing gifts. Obviously, for us back home, when you go to visit somebody, especially when they just went through a tragedy, even if you're going to visit somebody or going to see them at the hospital, you'll probably go bearing gifts, like bring them some food, fruits, stuff like that. Especially food that you cooked from home. It's not very common here. People obviously just bring food if maybe they had a party or a cookout or something like that. Another thing that I noticed, you don't even have to stay for so long after you move to the United States, was the fact that Americans like to eat. Americans can eat, okay? You can even tell when you go to the restaurant and stuff like that, you can tell the chunks of food, like the amount of food that you're given. And you would never go to a restaurant and not meet people eating. Or even the drive-throughs, the fast food restaurants and stuff like that. Obviously, there'll be someone there trying to get some food. It was different for us. I mean, we obviously like to cook more than go out to eat. I don't know how to express this, but Americans love their food. And then in line with that, I know I had mentioned this before. I know I just talked about this, but it's not really a habit for Americans to cook that much. Because when I was growing up, my mom used to make sure she cooked every day. If she didn't, somebody at the house would cook for everybody. I realized that it wasn't that common here. people mostly go out and buy food, which was something that was shocking to me. I couldn't imagine living at home and then not having food to eat and then going out to buy food. So that was different. I'm not trying to say Americans don't cook at all, but it's not an everyday habit. Yeah, Americans could rely on snacks and go out to buy food and stuff like that, which is something that was different to me. All right, this one is a funny one, okay? Americans don't wash their shoes.
Officer, I got one question for you. What are those?
It's unheard of for somebody to not wash their shoes. Obviously, it's not everybody, but it's just common to walk around and see people with dirty shoes, especially considering the fact that the roads are a lot better than the roads we used to have back in Cameroon. And then you easily pick up some dust in Cameroon walking around, but people make sure they always clean up their shoes before they went somewhere. Yeah, that was culturally different. And even in line with that, an American will probably spend $300, $400 on a pair of Air Jordans or any other expensive shoes, rather than have a couple of pairs that they could wear on different days. They would rather have the Air Jordans and wear it 3 times, rather than have split that $300 into 4 or 5 and buy 4 or 5 different pairs of shoes and wear them on different days. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the shoes look dirty, I don't know. But even if I had one pair of shoes, I would obviously wash it before using it. Till this day, I would rather spend $400 on 4 pairs of shoes or 3 pairs of shoes than just spend it on 1 pair of shoes and then wear it repeatedly. I'm really not trying to make this video too long, so I'll probably split it into 2. Have a part 2 another time, because there's so many cultural differences between Cameroon and America. Okay, back home, if you saw a building construction going on, it could probably take 3 months, 1 year, 2 years to complete. But here, drive around one day, you see it under construction. Before you come back the next week, that house will be done. That was so shocking. That was one of the most shocking things to me. How quick the construction gets done. That was very shocking, because the difference was so large. Seeing somebody get done with a construction in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, as opposed to 3 months, 5 months, 1 year, 2 years. That was very different. I know I've said I'm going to cut this video, but I can't go without saying how great America is.
We are #1, damn it, and we'll kill anyone who says we aren't.
Americans like to mention how great America is. They will always talk about their country. Probably because America is really a great country, but Americans will tell you about it. Okay? Americans will mention that.
What do you think the greatest country in the world is?
America.
Don't you dare tell an American America is not the greatest country in the world. They won't like you. Please, America is the greatest country in the world. A Cameroonian wouldn't say Cameroon is the greatest country in the world. Maybe that's why. Maybe they really think America is the greatest country in the world. And maybe it is, but that's not the point. The point is the fact that Americans mention it a lot and say, yeah, America is the greatest country in the world.
What do you think the best country in the world is?
Chicago. I think it's where we are now. Paris. New York. Disneyland. California, so here. I guess Japan.
But yeah, that's all I had for you guys for today. That's not all I had. I have a lot, but I want to keep it short or not too long, and I'm going to cut it here. And if you haven't done so, please hit that like button, subscribe, do all that good old stuff. Hit it. It's down there. I pointed up, but it's down there. And please stay safe. COVID-19 is out here. 2022 is going to be a better year. And until next time, peace.